The vendor booth of Metalsmith Pat Pruitt is busy, and with good reason. Last night, Pat's sculpture, Sentinel V 1.0, was awarded Best in Show. So naturally, his booth is one that art lovers and collectors all want to visit on the first day of Indian Market.
Oh, Indian Market's awesome, right? So, I mean, what can you say? It's the greatest, it's the pinnacle of Native American art, right? And you see the opportunity to transcend this as artists, and how do you surpass this in the Native art realm, right? You move beyond, above and beyond. What's next? That's the question. It's like how do you continue to do what you do, and it pushes you, it drives you. There's so many great artists that have become amazing friends, and just that camaraderie that it's indescribable because we have such a tight-knit family. Even though we go toe-to-toe and head-to-head in the competition, but at the end of the day, we'll go hang out, have a barbecue, and chit-chat and be family. So to me, that's what's awesome. First time I applied to Indian Market, I was denied, right? Just straight up denied. Your work does not fit our model, our standard. And so I had to educate the board, educate the standards committee on how and why I do things. And so then you get in, right? You get the acceptance, and then you go through the paces, and 10 years later, the best to show the validation, right? It's the validation of what you're doing as an artist. That, to me, that's what means the most, because it opens the doors for those that are coming after me. This pot, all right, so it's based on a traditional Laguna pottery form, all right, and people were asking me, is this a new idea? And it's really based on an idea I did 10 years ago. So this is the 10th year I've done Indian Market. The very first year I got into the market and entered into the competition, I produced a piece called The Pottery is Half Full. And so it was a vessel very similar to this in the form, just much smaller in scale. It was about 8 inches high and about 6 inches in diameter, and had probably about 30 components to it. And so 10 years later, with a whole different skill set, whole different knowledge base, I wanted to readdress that, kind of as that monumental piece. What has changed 10 years later? And so readdressing the same concept, but now you have a piece that has over 850 components, and an entirely different metal, and just how would I re-envision it again? So it was just rethinking the same concept. Just how would I do it now?
Born in Albuquerque and raised in the Pueblo of Laguna, fate played a hand in Pat's decision to pursue a career in art.
I was very fortunate or unfortunate that I got into a bike accident when I was 15, and was laid up for a little while. And we have a local silversmith, Greg, by the name of Greg Lewis, who took me under his wing. Right? I mean, he apprenticed me for a little while. We had another great artist, Charlie Bird, who was another silversmith in the area, and also studied under him. And long story short, I was able to make it into high school, took a couple jewelry classes, went into college, started doing jewelry at that time, and got involved in the body piercing scene, started making body piercing jewelry. Had a company making jewelry for the body piercing industry, and that was my introduction into the stainless steels and the titaniums. And after that kind of ran its course, decided to get back to my roots on making traditional adornment. This piece took me approximately 760 hours to put together, from design time all the way up to fabrication and final assembly. So it was a pretty monumental project for me, right? I mean, it was all squeezed into a very short time frame. I'm working in stainless steel, in titanium, and zirconium, and so no one else is using it. I mean, and I say no one, not no one in the context of no one in the native art realm, but really no one in the art realm in general. I mean, from a jeweler's perspective, you have a handful of goldsmiths who have produced their token stainless steel piece. You're now seeing a couple artists like James Binion and Chris Plouffe who are doing some significant work in like stainless Damascus or laminated metals, but there really hasn't been an artist in the Americas who has focused and dedicated to these alternative metals. And so that's kind of where I fit in. Has there been resistance in using these metals with these traditional shapes and forms? No, because no one really knows what to make of it, right? I mean, there is no precedent set for making stainless, anything in Native America, right? So I kind of have a clean palette to work with.
For Pat, this mixture of the traditional with new technology and materials is only natural.
We see technology evolve, and we see technology in the way things are produced that moves so rapidly. We're in an era, in an environment that you don't physically have to touch anything, right? You can do it all in the computer. It's a virtual environment. Send it off to some company in, Germany, and 3 weeks later it shows up at your doorstep. For me, it's the validation of the acceptance of new technology and not having that pre-formed opinion on what Native art should be. We control that destiny. Without the collectors, without the friends, without the words of encouragement, we wouldn't be here where we're at today. So it truly is a much bigger picture than just producing art.